If you feel like everything falls apart when you step away, you don't have a leadership problem. You have an empowerment problem. And this can be applied to your business, your fatherhood, and your faith. Some men control their business. Some men control their household. Some men even try to control outcomes with God. But control isn't strength, it's insecurity. So we're going to be going over this law of empowerment today, which says only secure leaders give power away. Thanks for following the journey today, guys. John Maxwell wrote that book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. We're going to be covering that law of empowerment today in your three aspects of business, fatherhood, and your faith. Let's dive right in. So in your business, guys, insecure leaders hoard responsibility. Secure leaders build other leaders. And if your business only works when you're present, you're self-employed, not leading. So I'm a self-employed business owner right now of two companies. One is a local fix and flip company, and the other is a capital raising business, investing into large multifamily homes or other land development deals. The teams I work with are contractors for my fix and flip, lenders, and banks or attorneys or CPAs. That's my team right now. And I have one fix and flip crew, and I'm growing a second one right now as I get more deals. And in regards to my capital raising business, it's really just me. It's something I'm figuring out on my own. I have not scaled this other than having certain virtual assistants help me with marketing, and I have a lot of partners though that I collaborate with who are other fund managers, other capital raisers. I've also been an employee for almost 10 years in the same company, and this was before I started doing real estate. So I got a really good taste of the receiving end of this. And I was somebody that was pretty directionless when I first started in this company. So it was a landscaping company. We did maintenance, we did projects, and we ended up doing home renovations as well. And the boss was very key on act like an owner. And what do you need to succeed? And one of the things that I feel like I learned from that experience was if you're going to act like an owner, you should be able to enjoy the benefits of being an owner, as well as maybe get hurt on some of the risks and sacrifices of being the owner. You can't have it both ways. You can't expect to work when you want to and have freedom to control your schedule completely, and then get all the upside of when you get the big sales and um, land the big accounts. So haven't figured it all out, of course, but I know that as the recipient of that type of tutelage and leadership style, for my businesses that I just talked about, the fix and flip and the capital raising, I do want to grow those around me. And I realize that if I am not growing those around me, I'm stuck. I'm going to be um, hoarding the power and the control and the responsibility, and that is going to keep me limited. Let's carry this over to our roles as dads. So many fathers confuse protection with control. We micromanage our kids, we answer for them, we don't let them fail. But empowerment in fatherhood looks like this. You're teaching decision making. You're allowing for small failures. You're giving responsibility early. And you're speaking identity over them. This is who you are. This is the kind of person you are. When this happens, you don't stop, you don't quit, you persevere. So, one quote I liked was, your job as a father isn't to raise compliant children, it's to raise confident adults. And let's connect this into our legacy. If your son can't lead his own family one day, if your daughter doesn't know her identity, then we didn't empower, we managed. And that's what we want to break. Secure fathers don't compete with their sons. They don't dominate their homes. They don't need to be the hero every day. They build heroes within the children. So I have a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old right now. And, we are in uh, the years of experiencing some of these sufferings and these failures. I just heard a story recently about a dad who made his son, mow a lawn that was an acre. It's an acre long, and the lesson there was that was awful. That was so hard. Why didn't you just let me do it with the riding? It was like a push mower. Why don't you just have me do it with a riding mower? But there is lessons to be learned through doing those hard things that maybe we just gloss over because we did those things. We were willing to do those things. We had the opportunity to do those things, to decide this is a hard thing to do, and we learn from it. My son right now wants to write a book, and actually he's already gotten started. Um, and I am loving hearing his ideas about the story, this world, the characters, the terms he's using about it. So when we can see our kids build and create and own, um, I'd say that is our goal as fathers, to empower. Let's take this into the third layer, the third pillar, which is our faith. And I think the best way to look at this is to see how God modeled empowerment. He gave Adam responsibility in the Garden of Eden. This is when there was no sin. This is when things are perfect. He said, Adam, I want you to name the animals. I want you to tend the garden. God could have had those things taken care of. He could have already named everything. He could have, made everything self-sustaining. But he gave Adam that role to take care of these things. Jesus Christ empowered the disciples and sent them out. Once again, Jesus didn't need to do that. He could have done everything himself. He could have been tireless. He could have been, all controlling, do as I say, like dictator. But he chose followers. He taught them. And he knew, hey, I'm not going to be with you guys forever. He allowed them to cast out demons. Um, he allowed them to make mistakes while they were preaching. And and he's working with imperfect people here. And even to the point where now we have received the Great Commission from the Lord saying, go out and make disciples and teach them and disciple them. I mean, that's our example right there. And I'm actually reading right now in Exodus. And another great example is Moses was given leadership from God to take the people out of Egypt. Moses is his head against the wall saying, I have so much I'm burdened with. I have all these people coming to me. There's a line of people coming to me with their problems because I have presented myself as the leader. And his father-in-law, Jethro, says, you've got this all wrong. You need certain, managers, some that are taking care of 5 people and 10 people and 50 people and 100 people and 1,000 people and give them the ability to take care of these things. And that way you can focus on these things and these things can be focused over here. So there's another biblical example of how we can give power to others to take care of things. Empowerment requires faith. You must believe in God that he is in control, not you. And also recognize that control is often disguised fear. I had a conversation this week with a guy, a mentor of mine, somewhat a new mentor. We probably only had like 3 or 4 conversations, but guy from our church. And he said something that I wanted to leave with you guys, or at least drop in here. I'm not necessarily done with the episode yet, but he said, Jesus is really all you need, but he's also all that you really have. And that struck me pretty hard because, we're talking about contentment and I would say the illusion of control. And that idea that we've heard this 1,000 times, Jesus is all I need. All that I need is you, Jesus. However, do we recognize that the things that we hold on to are able to be taken away from us? The life of Job is an example of that, where God took away health and family and riches, and God is able to do his will, do his work without checking in with us and asking, hey, is it right that, I'll take this away or give this to you? So I hope that you guys can cling to that truth today that yes, Jesus is all that we need to be content. And if you're a follower of Christ, he's also all that we really have. And he gives us gifts, Jesus does, to steward. And we can take those and pour those into those around us, specifically our employees, our children, and, our neighbors and our wives and everyone else that's around us. So here's our takeaways, guys. Grow your company by empowering your team. Strengthen your family by empowering your children. And deepen your faith by trusting God with control. Then you become secure, and only secure leaders give power away. Hey guys, thanks for listening for today's episode. I'm putting out some more content on my Instagram. Invested underscore Kenny Johnson is my Instagram handle. And for anyone that's might be looking for some passive investment opportunities, I'd love to get you into my world there. I have a free guide for investing into apartments without doing any of the work. It's like a 5-minute PDF read. And yeah, if you know of someone that would be interested in learning more about passive investing, flipping houses, or leadership in general, connect with me on my socials and we'll get a conversation started there. That's it for today. Thank you guys.